rich, snobby high school kids and two wannabes. This is giving me Mean Girls meets Superstar meets Clueless. Not exactly what I was expecting, but then again, not what I wasn't expecting. What does that even mean? I just be talking sometimes. I gotta edit that out.
Dan it, Dan it. Dan it, Dan it, Dan it, Dan it, Dan it.
I like that. It's going to be my new theme song.
Dan it, Dan it, Dan it, Dan it, Dan it, Dan it, Batman.
I am not the target audience for this film. Definitely had no intention to check it out, but because it has been requested, here we are. These Blush Bunnies present Do Revenge. Well, you know what? I take that back. I said I wasn't the target audience, but I'm not so sure of that, being as though none of the people in the film are high school age. One character in particular looked like she could have been somebody's mom, and I was gravely confused as to what was happening for a second. Like, is this a different time frame or what? But I'm getting ahead of myself. Just in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, let me set the scene. Drea is a wannabe. She wants to be like any and everybody but herself, from the way she presents herself all the way to the university she plans to attend. In this case, Yale. Her boyfriend, I guess if that's what you want to call him, is heading off to school, and he asks for her to send him off with a going away gift. Video of herself. He decides to send that video around school. She, being the outlier of the school, is then amplified, and then she meets Eleanor, a new girl who also has an issue with a student at the school for outing her with false claims attached. Eleanor and Drea decide to team up to do revenge on each other's enemy, and the drama begins to unfold. Now, this is typical of high school movies. Someone wanting to be in the in crowd and everybody's turning their backs on them like, girl, go somewhere with that. We don't want to be your friend and you ugly anyways. Well, they didn't call her ugly, but in so many words, they did call her poor. So that fits the mold. Here's my problem with the movie, and I kind of just mentioned it. Everybody is old. If they aren't old, they look old. I almost felt like I was watching Grease, which, side note, when I saw Grease for the first time, I was a child and I just assumed that that's how high schoolers looked. I had no way of calling it out back then, but the age limit in that movie is criminal. But with this one, I just couldn't stay in the drama of it all because I didn't fully buy it. These people look like they should be catching up on the latest news at the water dispenser, giving advice on which elementary school has the best college trajectory for their kids. Yes, I said elementary. You know, people think about that way earlier every decade, but these people should be meeting up at an after-work affair for drinks and in bed by 9 p.m., planning out their entire Saturday filled with responsibilities and errands, only to wake up, go to Starbucks, come back home, completely neglect everything on their to-do list by binging Lifetime Saturday movies, waiting for the premiere of the new one at 8 o'clock. And no, I'm not talking about myself. This is just something I happened to hear about while I was waiting to fill my water bottle at the dispenser one day. But can you pick up what I'm putting down here? Am I alone in feeling this way? Because if I am, by all means, speak up. However, I don't see how you can view it any other way. You would really have to convince me that I'm tripping right now. Now, if you've watched my other videos, or to be more specific, the Never Have I Ever series, then you know that the age of the actors as it pertains to their performances, I saw no problem with it. Sometimes it's not a bother for me, sometimes it is. This time, it was just tough for me to take it seriously that these so-called group of teens were going through this drama. They should have set this to be in college. At least in college, there are a wide range of ages. You could be a college freshman at 40 and nobody can say anything because it is what it is and you don't pay my bill. Or they should have just cast different actors because it was super distracting for me. Speaking of being distracted by actors, and this is of no fault to her, the Uma Thurman Ethan Hawke hybrid. How do you look exactly like both of your parents at the same time but look like them separately all in one? Like, how is that even possible? I wasn't distracted in a bad way with that one. I was more so amazed, like, wow, this is happening. This is a thing. But enough about my distractions. Let's get into the story. I would have to say that I was pleasantly surprised by how this story took a turn, and it was next to perfect the way they executed it. I did not see the plot twist coming. So, just to catch you up, I told you that they both had their grudges, right? They were out to get revenge on their respective parties. They do a couple of smaller things, like expose how misogynistic Drea's ex is. They give everybody food poisoning, yada yada. And through all of it, they were forming a friendship. But at some point, Drea turned their friendship into being about her and her problems, and that is where we begin to see a different side of Eleanor. Her true colors shine through, and she laid it all out on the table. We learned that the person she was getting revenge on was Drea the entire time. She thought Drea had changed, but she hadn't, and thus her plan had to commence. I love the fact that the whole reason as to why Drea didn't realize that she was the one that Eleanor was after was because she was a true mean girl to the core. Do you know how evil and conniving you have to be to completely forget that you purposely set out to hurt someone? You guys met as kids at camp, and even though you got along, you decided to spread a rumor about misconduct taking place. That's a pretty heavy lie, and you can't even recall. Now that's how you write a mean girl. However, and it's unfortunate that I have to say this, I think they did a terrible job at writing the mean boy, aka Drea's ex, Max. His whole reason for sending her special video that she recorded just for him around school was because she was just like him. Their personalities were one and the same, and he couldn't have that. It couldn't be two of them, so he had to destroy her. I mean, he gave a whole monologue like it was a mic drop moment, and I'm just sitting there like, girl, what? What? That was one of the most anticlimactic reasons they could come up with. It just didn't give what they thought it would. I get it. He is supposed to be a narcissist, and with that, he's got to do whatever he needs to do to keep the attention and be the most important person in the room. But where is the meat and potatoes for this? You invited me over to dinner just to serve broccoli with no seasoning, no butter, no cheese, nothing to jazz it up. Just here, eat this broccoli. This is not fulfilling. This is not what I signed up for. Where is the rest of the meal? To fix this excuse of a plot point, they could have had the two of them dating for a while, and he noticed that the attention was going to her instead of him, and that set him off. And the cherry on top could be her being ungrateful of what he does for her, or whatever he was talking about. Like, give us something of a little more substance. They definitely dropped the ball there. But where did they exceed all expectations? The mise-en-scène. I rarely comment on it, but I absolutely would be doing a disservice in this case if I didn't mention it. The set and costume design in this film trumps everything. Forget the story. Forget the Rugrats all grown up. Aesthetically, this film is beautiful. All of the pastel colors. If the story doesn't keep you engaged, then the production design will. It takes you into a different world. The contrast between the darker elements of the story juxtaposed to the visual, beautifully done. But you know, thinking about all of this, I pose a question to myself and to you all if you feel inclined to answer. Would you consider this a classic film? I saw some chatter online saying that it is, but I think I would have to disagree. And this is why. It feels like an homage to the classics rather than setting out to be a classic on its own. As I mentioned, I see elements of Clueless, Superstar, Mean Girls. You have Sarah Michelle Gellar in it, who is the only featured adult throughout the film, and we never saw anyone's parents, which is interesting now that I think about it. But Sarah being cast is clearly a nod to the 90s and early 2000s, as she was one of the main girls back then. That was a nice touch. But the film itself doesn't stand on its own in regards to being an authentic, fresh take on the teen film genre. And what I mean by that is it feels as if the writer sat down and said, let's make a movie like, and named every single teen movie they grew up watching. Instead of sitting down with a fresh idea and in the midst of it having a light bulb moment like, oh, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, Drea should exude Cher, head to toe. Very Cher, very Dion. You get what I'm saying? I mean, that's just the vibe I got watching this. I could be wrong, but again, I could be right. It was an enjoyable film, but I think I would just leave it at that. But what are your thoughts about the film? Let me know down below. Make sure you're following the podcast and stop by the merch store, both linked below. With that being said, be sure to click like and hop on over to that subscribe button and hit the bell. Otherwise, YouTube will never show you my videos. As always, I'm all ears. Until next time, bye.